ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री कृष्णाय नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः।
In the last episode, we came to know that the fisherman's chieftain, Satyavati's father, refused to accept King Shantanu's proposal unless the king clarified what the fate of Satyavati's children would be. He asked whether they would have any claim to the throne of Hastinapur. Now, let's take the story a bit further. This time, the king did not accept the condition impulsively, yet he returned deeply heartbroken and dejected. From then on, he grew silent and withdrawn, virtually lost, and was unable to give proper attention to his royal duties. But on the other hand, he could not deprive his beloved son Devvrat of his natural right to throne. It remains to be seen how Devvrat reacted to this situation. Devvrat tried to explore the cause of his father's suffering. He kept asking himself, what had happened to his father all of a sudden? What was his father's longing for? Had he been deprived of what he truly desired? Who was that being, or what was that thing whose absence had made him unhappy? To get to the bottom of the question behind his father's suffering, he reached Satyavati's home. Satyavati's father was as unbending as before. Devvrat tried to assure the adamant man, but mere assurances from the future king or heir apparent did not suffice to satisfy the ambitious father. The question of succession raised by Satyavati's father had cast a dark shadow over the future of the kingdom. As long as Devvrat stood firmly in the line of succession, no one else could actually be the legitimate claimant of the crown. What could be the resolution to such a situation? The doting, dutiful son, Devvrat, voluntarily chose to end the conflict. What came next was an oath that left an indelible mark on the story of Hastinapur and Mahabharata. Little did anyone know that Hastinapur would have to pay such a heavy price for Devvrat's words. Devvrat addressed the residents of the earth, the skies, the gods, all the four directions. He took an oath to remain celibate, which meant that he would not get married all his life and would never father a child. He vowed to defend the throne of Hastinapur unconditionally. He pledged to regard any future ruler as his own father. It was an oath of extraordinary sacrifice. From that moment on, he came to be known as Bhishma, the man of a terrible vow. The earth trembled at the gravity of that vow. No one before him had ever taken such an oath, and no one in future would ever show such firmness, commitment, dedication, and sacrifice. Now, the immediate purpose was achieved. Bhishma had cleared the path for his father's marriage to Satyavati. In the course of time, Satyavati gave birth to two sons, Chitrangad and Vichitravirya. Chitrangad, the elder son, became the king after Shantanu's death, but he was killed in a battle with a Gandharva or a divine being who bore the same name, and unfortunately he had died without a successor. All hopes of continuing the royal line rested on Vichitravirya. He was physically and mentally weak. Bhishma tried his best to instill some courage and discipline in him. The burden of the throne weighed heavily on him. Satyavati had foresight enough to get her weak son married as soon as possible. Bhishma, bound to the throne as he was instructed by his mother Satyavati to bring a princess of Kashi for Vichitravirya. Bhishma proceeded to Kashi. Swayamvar is an ancient custom which granted any princess the right to choose her bridegroom. Kings from all the parts of the country had been invited. Hastinapur was not invited due to some past grudges. Still, the mighty and dutiful Bhishma, following his mother's command, reached Kashi uninvited in the service of a throne he could never occupy. And in the presence of all, he challenged everyone and defeated every contender. All the kings held him in awe and were afraid of him. Kashi's king, Kashiraj, had three daughters, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. The eldest, Amba, had already given her heart to King Shalva, but Bhishma challenged everyone present, including Shalva, and after defeating all of them, carried all the three sisters to Hastinapur. When the princesses reached Hastinapur, Amba refused to marry Vichitravirya and revealed that her heart already belonged to Shalva. Bound by Dharma, Bhishma realized his mistake and acknowledged it, honored her choice, and sent her back. This simple decision, which initially appeared just and righteous, would soon unravel one of the greatest tragedies of Mahabharata. The vow that had once secured peace had now gradually started revealing its ominous consequences. The story of Amba had begun. Amba's story in Mahabharata is a tragic tale of love, abduction, rejection, and revenge. She was brought to Hastinapur by Bhishma for his half-brother Vichitravirya. When Amba refused to marry Vichitravirya because she loved King Shal, upright and righteous Bhishma sent her to King Shal. Shal still loved her. However, wounded by humiliation and defeat at hands of Bhishma, Shalva refused to accept her. Rejected by the man she loved, Amba returned once more to Hastinapur. No respectable woman could bear such treatment. She reached Hastinapur again, and only one solution seemed acceptable to her. She pleaded with Bhishma that he should marry her. Bhishma could not marry her, as he could not free himself from the oath that had shaped his entire life. Amba's fate was sealed not by hatred but by duty. In this state of utter misery, broken and humiliated, she left Hastinapur with only one purpose: revenge. She was born again as a woman. In that birth, she performed intense penance, seeking the destruction of Bhishma, the man whose vow had destroyed her life. Her suffering did not end in that lifetime, but she had obtained a boon from Lord Shiva. She was born again as Shikhandi, the son of King Drupad, carrying with him an unfulfilled destiny that would ultimately cause Bhishma's downfall in the war of Kurukshetra. We will come to that moment in the future. For now, let's return to the present in Hastinapur. The two other princesses of Kashi, Ambika and Ambalika, were married to Vichitravirya, the king for whom Bhishma had risked everything. The king was weak and did not survive for long. He died young and left behind two widows. Once again, the throne of Hastinapur faced a crisis. The dynasty was in the danger of extinction. Bound by his vow, Bhishma could not ascend the throne. It was then that Mother Satyavati, in her wisdom, made a bold decision, a decision rooted in her past. Long before her marriage, she had gone to serve sage Parashar. From that union, a son was born whose name was Krishna Dvapayana, later known as Sage Vedvyas. The great sage and author of Puranas and Mahabharata. She summoned her son Vedvyas, revealed his origin, and called upon him to preserve the Kuru lineage. Thus, at a moment of despair, the future of Hastinapur was placed in the hands of a sage born outside its walls. And with the arrival of Vedvyas, the destiny of Mahabharata entered a new phase. What impact did Vedvyas make on Kuru lineage? That we would see in the next episode.
ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om